Hi everyone, welcome back. This is week 60 of my social isolation get ready with me's. We are nowhere close to 100, like with 40 weeks to go, but I am curious if we will actually get to 100. Ooh, what a number that would be. Okay, this week I'm going to be playing with the Tarte Unleashed palette. This one always kind of confuses me with the name because it says young, wild, and cruelty free on the front, but that's not the name of the palette. Like, the name of the palette's on the back and it says Unleashed. So I love this palette, but I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different with this. Whenever I play with this, I stick with like the orange tones because that's my kind of aesthetic. The orange warm tones or like the blue and the greens. I want to try to stick to like the more mauve-y tones in the middle and just do something a little bit different with this one. I am wearing yet another cat t-shirt from Tea Turtle. This one says Crazy Cat Lady because I am one. We had so much random news going on this week. Well, where do I start? Okay, so I told you last week, I think, that I booked my vaccine appointment for June 5th. Well, it turns out that I can get it bumped up, so that's what I did. The vaccine system is all online, it's all, technologically operated. What a weird term, I don't think I've ever said that before. It's all online, so you can book and rebook in the system, no problem. So there were slots becoming available like sooner than my June 5th appointment, but they were disappearing so quickly because people were doing the whole booking thing. So I had to like play around on the site for a little while, but I managed to get my appointment moved up to, what's the date? May 26th, which is very exciting. I also got it moved up because if you play World of Warcraft Classic, you know that Burning Crusade is being launched on June 1st. And with my appointment being on the 5th, I'm like, wow, that's really gonna cut into my leveling time. This is how I think, yes. So I got it bumped up to May 26th, and hopefully, I should be fine within 24 hours. That's what everybody seems to be saying. If they have any reactions, I'll be good to go for that game launch. My husband was also able to get his moved up sooner too, so that's great. Although I think his is on the 29th. I am very much looking forward to playing Burning Crusade Classic. I started playing WoW in BC. It was around patch 2.2 or 2.3, I think. And I had a great time with it, but we were always a 10-man guild, so I never got to do the 25-man content. So I'm really excited with my guild going into BC because we've got all the players we're going to need for it because we have to go from a 40-man down to a 25-man team. But yeah, it's going to be fun to play that game again. Right now, there's a lot of people who are like, what are you talking about? Okay, so to start this look off, I'm going to go in with Oh Dear on a fluffy brush and put that through my crease. So the other news that we heard, I was on a work conference call, which was probably bank-wide, or at least my department-wide. So maybe that doesn't make any sense. I work for a bank in Canada, so that's why I was on a bank-wide call, where they were talking about re-entry into the workplace. Well, fundamentally the call was about COVID, and they had a doctor that they brought on so that he could answer all kinds of like questions about COVID, the vaccine, re-entry into the workplace, yada yada. And it was a great call. There was a lot of great information on it, a lot of like, assuaging people's fears who were concerned about the vaccine or who were concerned about returning to the office and this and that. So that was phenomenal. But the one big piece of information that they let loose on that call was that they were actually thinking about re-entry into head office workplace, which is for me downtown Toronto, in the fall. And I heard that and I was like, wait, really? Because I wasn't expecting to hear any kind of dates, because for the longest time now, my company has just been like, okay, like we're not giving you dates, there's no point getting you excited about for something that we're just gonna have to push off eventually. But they were saying that based on the current vaccine rollout and how stuff was progressing, that they could forecast potentially re-entering in the fall. Now, when I think of fall, I think of September. Like September 1st, people go back to school, that kind of thing. But the fall really is like end of September through to the end of December. So it could be anywhere in that time stamp or that frame of months. In talking to my boss, my coworkers, they're more inclined to believe that we're not going to go back in during that segment because we can do our jobs from home, no problem. But we were more likely to go back in 2022, which frankly I've kind of been saying since the cases got stupid again, like at the start of the end of last year. I don't really remember. Everything's blurring together. I thought that there was no way that we were going to return to the office this year. Like, no. I love this tumbler, by the way. My friend Julie gave me this for Christmas, maybe? Can't remember. It's from David's Tea. It's sparkly. It's just great. Okay, for the lid color, I'm going to take Hypocritical, which for me is a bit of a struggle to use because I really want to go with like Irrelevant over here or this one down here, but I'm like, okay, do something different for once. So I am pretty eager to go back to the office. I feel like I talk about this a lot, but I hate working from home. Okay, look, I know I'm in a fortunate situation. I can work from home. I have a salary, you know, like nothing has really changed in that respect. You know, I'm good, but I hate working from home. I've never even liked it for those random days where you would have to work from home because you were having something done in your apartment, like maintenance workers were coming in. I hate it. So to be working from home for over a year now, I'm losing my mind. I need social interaction from people in person. I like going places. I like being out of my house. I know people are struggling with that whole like boundaries between working at home and like their personal life. I don't have that kind of issues, okay? Like I log on at 9 and I log off at 5. There's no like checking my emails after that time. I'm just not that person. I've never been that person. I have no issues with like closing my laptop down at 5 o'clock and being like, I'm not touching you until 9 o'clock the next morning. For me, it's more about the fact that I just can't interact with people on the same level that I'm used to. And that's the part that I really want when going back to the office. Okay, for the outer corner and through the crease, I'm gonna start with Qualified over here. I don't think it's gonna be deep enough, so I'm probably gonna have to go back in with another shade. We're gonna start with this first. That's pretty good. I did think this crease color though was going to be a bit more mauve-y. It's got a little bit more pink in it than I was expecting. So yeah, I don't foresee us actually going back to work in the fall, but it is encouraging to hear that they're trying to plan towards that. Just because I really want to get back in the office. Although, I know they're going to give us about a month of warning before we go back in the office. They've always told us this, that they would just give us some time to adjust the fact that our schedules might be different now. One of the things that I'm going to have to focus on massively, and I struggle to talk about this a little bit online because I know that it can be a sensitive topic for some people. So I'll just put this warning here. I'm about to talk about weight gain and weight loss. So that they'd give us a month to go back into work. But I'm going to need more than that to fit back into my work clothes because I do not want to buy an entirely new set of clothes just for my COVID weight gain because fundamentally I'm not comfortable in my body right now. I do want to get back to my more athletically proficient body, which, you know, was weightlifting and running more consistently, et cetera, et cetera. The COVID weight gain has meant, which for me is about 20 pounds, has meant that my work clothes will not fit me whatsoever. And if I worked really hard, 20 pounds, pound a week, that's still almost close to half a year. So I've never been one for fat diets. I don't subscribe to any of that. I just have always calorie counted and gone from there. And, you know, basically the key to weight loss has always been move more and eat less. Fundamentally, eat better. So that's what I'll have to do, but a month will not be enough to get back into my work clothes. That's for sure. Okay, I'm gonna deepen up just the outer corner a little bit with Bare Necessities here. Just a tiny bit right down there. Yep. And for my brow bone highlight, I'm using Swan Song, which I think is very bright. It's not as white as I was expecting based on the pan color. I cannot wait for my eventual return to the gym. I miss lifting heavy weights so freaking much. But I know when I go back, I'm gonna have to be lifting pretty lightly because, you know, my muscles have gone to jello essentially in the year and a half or whatever since I've been working from home. Is it even a year and a half yet? Something like that. Okay, let's finish off the eye since I seem to be doing that a lot lately. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take, I'm going to keep it pale. I'm just going to take Oh Dear, which was that crease color. And I'm going to use a relatively big brush for this because I just want a messy haze underneath my eye. Just slap it on there. Yeah, just a bit like that. And I want just a little bit of definition at the very outer corner, so I'm gonna go in with Qualified on a pencil brush and just put that right there. That's not dark enough. Okay, going in with Bare Necessities, which is a darker color. There we go. So I'm not gonna do a wing today, but I am gonna add some liquid liner. I'm trying a new one today. It's by Bite Beauty. It is their Upswing Extreme Longwear Liquid Eyeliner. I'm going to tell you right off the bat that I know that I'm not going to love this as much as my Physicians Formula one, simply because it's one of those dip pot ones like that, and I just find these to be supremely messy. I always get them like all over my lashes, which is user error, I guess you can say, but I just prefer pen style. However, I received this in PR and I want to try it out. So, let's see. Oh, it's very cold and very liquidy. So I'm just going to take this to the edge of my eye and end it there. Oh, I didn't do my inner corner. What am I going to use in this? Ooh. Okay, let's try Hawkward here, which is kind of like a patina gold. I don't know if that's really going to work with this, but let's find out. Oh, that looks really nice. Okay, good. For my lower waterline, I'm just going to use my INGLOT Kohl pencil in the shade 05. And then I'm going to put mascara and false lashes on off camera, and then I'll be right back and we'll do the face. Okay, time for the face. Ugh, I forgot my beauty blender again, so I guess I'm going in with a brush. Where are you? There we go, the Quo usual foundation brush that I use. I just like it because it's amazing, frankly. I'm using the Revlon Candid foundation. I've been using this one a lot lately. Really like the finish on it. I think it's really nice. So this is the shade 130 Ivory. So the other thing that I've been able to do more recently, I mean I could do it before, I just wasn't, was read. I haven't read consistently in quite a long time. I used to read a ton of books when I was younger. But, you know, with social media, our attention spans are like zilch, so I just hadn't done it in a while. But I think part of the problem, too, is that I was trying to get through some books that were just not interesting, like no good. And I used to be a person that would finish a book no matter what, even if I hated the storyline. But you know what? I'm old enough to say that it's a waste of time, and I should just move on to things that I actually enjoy. So I was trying to slug my way through... what's the name of the book? I don't remember it, but it's that new Twilight story, like the original Twilight book as retold from Edward's perspective. Stupid name of it, I don't remember. Anyway, it's awful. It's terrible, okay? I know Twilight is not like the utmost in literary fiction, but you know, it was enjoyable to read when I was in my 20s. It was a fun love story. You know, I've always loved vampires, so that was fun. But I had hoped that she would mature, the author, would mature the storyline along with her audience. Because obviously, we're no longer teenagers or in our 20s. We're looking for a story that's a little bit, I don't know, grown up. And Edward, for all intents and purposes, is hundreds of years old, right? So, like, he's not some spring chicken. But the story is told so insipidly. I've already bitched about this? I don't know. It's told so terribly that I was just rolling my eyes the whole time. And I think I made it about 100 pages in, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done. So I ended up scrapping that. And I felt weird because I wanted to actually finish it. So I would skip to 50 pages ahead, read a little bit, get caught up on what had happened, skip ahead another 50, and then until I got to the end of the book. So I was like, I can't do this. I can't read this whole thing as if it's actually any good. So that was dreadful, and I'd heard that it was dreadful too, but like, oh my god, I was not expecting how bad it actually was. And then I tried to read, because I have a lot of books on my bookshelf that are like my to-read pile, because I bought them and just haven't gotten around to them. And some of these books on there are like 10 years old, okay? Like, I've had them for a while. So one I tried to read was J.K. Rowling's Casual Vacancy, which I had picked up heaven knows how many years ago now. Couldn't get into it. I think I made it 50 pages and I'm like, this is terrible. I had read Harry Potter. I enjoyed it. This was a different kind of story, just about adults in a small town in England, which I thought would be up my alley, but it was just, I don't know, it was just terribly written, honestly. I was so confused about how many characters were introduced within the first 50 pages. Like, there was easily over 25 characters that they wanted you to know, and I was like, my brain can't handle this. Like, this is way too many people. So I gave up on that one. It's on my counter right now, and I'm probably going to take it out one day and put it in one of those like little libraries that people have on like their front lawns. You know, like leave a book, take a book kind of thing. Maybe somebody else will enjoy it, but that was not for me. And then I finally picked up a book that I had wanted to read for a while, but I wanted to get through the other ones first. And I was like, oh, finally you can read something that you hopefully will actually enjoy. And let me tell you, there is such a difference between reading something that you're forced to read, or that you're forcing yourself to read, versus something you actually just want to read that's actually good. So I really like books by Ken Follett. He's mostly known, I believe, for a book from the 80s called Pillars of the Earth, which is fantastic. One of my favorite books ever. It's set in like old-timey England, like 1200s, 1300s, that kind of stuff. And the Kingsbridge series, which is started with Pillars of the Earth, he's actually continued it. There's been some more recent books. So I'm reading, I think, A Column of Fire right now. And I read 100 pages yesterday without even thinking twice about it. And I was like, oh, I remember why I liked reading. You know, when the content is good, you just want to sit there and read it. So that was nice. So of course I did the most logical thing and ordered like 4 more books on Amazon because I needed to buy more books, right? Like, absolutely not. My to read pile is already about, I don't know, 10 books deep. Why am I adding more to them? But yeah, it was nice to get back into reading. I mean, I don't know how consistent I'm going to be with it, but at least the story is enticing. Actually, I was kind of happy that I didn't enjoy the J.K. Rowling book because that woman has come out to be quite the turf on social media. Her views on stuff are just not great. I don't really want to think much about her, but it's funny when even the actors of Harry Potter would come out and say like, hey, even though this woman who wrote these stories that you really enjoy is now behaving horribly, at least you can still enjoy her art for what it was back then, and you can still enjoy the Harry Potter series or whatever, even if you don't want to support her now. I had picked up this book before her views on social media came out, and I probably wouldn't have picked it up if I had seen that stuff beforehand. But anyway, bronzer, Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm getting there, man. Like, I just want this thing to be done, like I say every time. But yeah, I picked up another Ken Follett book, and I think some like more like what they call chick lit, which is just honestly easy reading stuff by Jennifer Weiner, whom I used to really enjoy reading. Sometimes it's nice to just read stuff that's like easy. I like thought-provoking books with a good storyline, but sometimes I want something that's just a little bit lighter, like a beach read. I am so thirsty lately. I don't know what it is, but when I hit my 30s and I would order pizza in, like I did at like midnight last night, and I eat the pizza, I'm parched. I'm dehydrated afterwards for like the next 24 hours. How much salt are these pizza places putting in their pizza dough? Because I am dying every time I order pizza in. Or even if I get like a boxed pizza at the grocery store and throw it in the oven, like, how much salt is in these things? I'm dying. I'm so thirsty all the time. Okay, for cheeks, I have a new blush from Bite Beauty. They launched 4 blushes this past week or the week before. They're called the Daycation Whipped Blushes. I have the shade here called Melon Mojito. This is the weirdest packaging, okay? This is very strange. So you twist off the top and you've got like this nozzle tip. So obviously the product is in this. But I mean, I personally wouldn't apply this to the back of my cheek, or to my cheek, so I'm gonna apply it to the back of my hand. But I'm gonna squeeze some out. That's probably enough. The thing that is so strange about these blushes is that they're shimmery. Like, they have a sheen to it. I have another one that's like a purple one. It's got a blue reflect to it. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I'm so surprised that they have these sheens to them. Anyway, how am I gonna apply this? Let's take this brush. I'm just gonna take the edge of it so you can see the color. It's quite pretty. Probably have too much on my brush though. I'm gonna dab it out and then just start dabbing it on. That's not enough. Okay. A little bit of color. I wonder if my finger would actually be better for this. Yeah, there's a sheen to it. There's like a peachy gold reflect. I think you can kind of see it here, like with the pink edge to it. Honestly, it really reminds me of their, what are those sticks? The pearl cream sticks or something like that? I think finger application's better. Okay. I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on like cream blushes, but I'm giving this one a shot. Bite Beauty is like one of the last PR mailing lists I think that I'm on, so it's still really nice to get their stuff and try out new things. I'm still waiting for Bite's relaunch of their lipsticks though. Like, where are those? I know no one's wearing lipsticks now because of masks, but oh, their lipsticks are some of the best. Okay, I like the color on that. I think I got more on this cheek. Let me add a bit down here. Might just be a shadow. It's probably a lot of blush though. It's funny, in person it looks like a ton. On camera, less so, but lights wash everything out, right? I do think finger application was the way to go with this though, because with the brush it wasn't really adhering as much as I would like. Okay, for highlighter, I'm going to be using this one from Makeup Revolution. Well, I Heart Revolution. It's the Blushing Hearts in the shade Iced Hearts. My friend Dominica gave it to me. I saw her in England 2 years ago now. This thing's beautiful. The sheen on this is so lovely. Look at that. And I had thought that this weird like peachy rose goldish color at the bottom would make it look weird, but it doesn't. Okay, that is face done. I'm gonna put my brows on and then we'll do the lips. Okay, for lips, I'm gonna use a color that I used a few weeks ago and I just really like the look of. Bite Beauty again. This is the Power Move Creamy Matte Lip Crayon in the shade Sugarcane. I really like this lip color. I don't think I've ever really worn a color like this before. Not this exact tone anyway. It's not something I normally gravitate towards either, but man, it just really works out for my skin tone, I think. Okay, so this was week 60. I used the Unleashed palette with colors that I don't normally grab for. I like the look. I think it's a little plain, I guess you could say, for me. I don't normally go for these kinds of like, I mean, honestly, they were supposed to be more mauve-y, but now I'm seeing quite a lot more brown in the shades, frankly. Anyway, I do really love this palette. I've talked about it quite a bit before, I think. Great selection of colors, large pans, a lot of mattes, great shimmers in there, and I like the fact that there's more than just like the token blue. There's even like a green in there. So I'm gonna wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Bye.